Managing Director and co-founder of Macroeconomic Advisors. All eyes really on the CPI data for the most part on Friday, right, Joel?
That's right, and maybe a little context here, background on this. Earlier this year, measures of inflation followed by the Fed softened away from the 2% objective. We know that there were some special factors behind that softening. Unlimited data plans introduced by a major carrier, some prescription drugs coming off a patent and the prices being competed out by generics, but there looked like there was other softening in prices as well. Why then do we still think that inflation is likely to gravitate back towards 2%? The fundamentals, I still think, point in that direction. First, survey-based measures of inflation expectations still support 2% inflation projections. Second, the economy is doing well. Labor markets are tightening. We actually expect a 3% handle on the unemployment rate sometime next year, and that's going to put upward pressure on wages and prices. Third, the dollar's lost value this year so far, 5 to 7%, depending on which measure you look at, and that should support some firming in import prices. And then finally, energy prices, commodity prices are unevenly rising. So all of the fundamental factors in our models point towards a gradual rise in inflation once the legacy effects of the slowdown and special factors that occurred earlier this year sort of wear themselves out.
Now, Janet Yellen's dashboard it's rising in many aspects, but there's some where it's still not where she wants it to be. So what makes you, apart from the issues that you mentioned that are all, hypotheticals, what makes you so certain that we'll see this inflation?
So it's a dashboard on labor market conditions, do you mean? Okay, well, the overall unemployment rate, we think will head down into 3, but with a 3 handle. But we know that Chair Yellen likes to look at other things, like how widely are the benefits of low unemployment enjoyed across different demographic groups and people with different education. And I think we're not satisfied there. And the unconventional measures of labor market slack, U3, other measures are still a little bit elevated relative to the pre-recession levels. Okay, and so until we see all facets of labor markets tighten up in a historical correlation, I think you have to be a little bit concerned that you won't see the normal relationships between labor market slack as conventionally measured in inflation. But I do agree that the CPI report late this week is important. Okay, all the inflation reports between now and any of the several next Fed meetings, I think, will be very important to see whether the most recent data is suggesting that inflation is reaccelerating.
Yeah. Now, talk to us a little bit about Jim Bullard. He's one of the very interesting members of the Fed. They're all fascinating. This guy has changed his mind a little bit over time. Well, what will he say today to Kathleen Hayes? What would your question be to him?
Well, first of all, I want to say that a year ago, when Jim broke with orthodoxy and adopted basically a wait-and-see attitude toward judicial monetary tightening. So I want to say that a year ago, when Jim broke with that orthodoxy and adopted a wait-and-see attitude towards monetary tightening, that I really respected that decision. I think that there were good reasons for doing that, and so far, I think that his approach has been, in fact, justified. I think he's going to be very cautious about advocating for further monetary tightening. He's going to want to see signs that inflation is in fact drifting back up. He's going to want to see signs that growth continues at 2% or more.
All right, Joel, thank you. Senior Managing Director and co-founder of Macroeconomic Advisors.